Good evening, one and everyone. After a long time, we are meeting again in another Potpourri session with a very interesting topic and an interesting speaker. Today, he is going to take us.
Good evening, one and everyone. After a long time.
Today, he is going to take us through the journey of Sittannavasal, and he's also going to talk about how to protect some of the rich monuments there and the paintings. So without further much delay, on to you, Mr. V.K. Srinivasan, who is a heritage enthusiast and also an IT professional.
Yeah, thank you, Anu. Good evening, everyone. My name is V.K. Srinivasan. I'm a volunteer in Tamil Heritage Trust. This is a very tough time around, and I'm happy to see all of you through the Zoom meeting. Normally, these kind of meetings from Tamil Heritage Trust, we used to do it in Arcade Center or in other auditoriums. Due to the current pandemic, we are using technology to reach out to you. One minute. I'll put this on the corner. Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Next 60 minutes or so, I want to talk with you about one of the most interesting and most important heritage monuments of Tamil Nadu, Sittannavasal. And not just about the monuments, and also the ways and means how we need to do something to protect it for our next generation to the future. That is why we gave a topic called Sittannavasal to the future. Most of you may be aware of Sittannavasal and the painting and the importance it to the history dating and everything. But here, I would like to discuss around 50% of the time about the monuments and the remaining 50% of the time about what things we need to do to protect this. For one minute. Yeah, the presentation, I've structured it like this. We'll talk about the history of Sittannavasal and what is so special about that, and what all things are there to see, and what are the importance of that. And also a very interesting and unique project called Project Sittannavasal, a proposal and initiative done by our professor, Mr. Swaminathan of Tamil Heritage Trust, and what are the suggestions he has made already to various authorities. And I want everyone to be aware of the suggestions given, and also interact with you how best we can do to improve it further. Okay, so let me get into very quickly about most of this talk is based on the documents created by Professor Swaminathan when he was running an organization called Sudarshanam in Pudukkottai, and also about various discussions and talks we had in Tamil Heritage Trust and our archives over 10 years. And also some of the inputs I've received from Professor Sivaramakrishnan about the artistic beauty of this monument and the paintings. And Mr. Ashok Krishna Swami is one of our colleague in our Tamil Heritage Trust. He is kind enough to share his photographs to share here for the wider audience. With sincere thanks to all of them, let me get into the journey into Sittannavasal. We know Sittannavasal is, it is in a place called Pudukkottai district. The Pudukkottai district instantly is the only one of the earlier kingdoms which were not under British control. It joined Indian Union only after India got independence. And this area has got a wealth of temple archaeology, sculptures, and paintings. And this place is more interest to a historian, the archaeologist, and connoisseur in the field of art. Why we are saying that here is, geographically, this Pudukkottai district lies in between Chola and Pandya territory, and the influence of both Chola and Pandya was alternating over a period of so many years. More than that, Pudukkottai is known for its cave temples. We all may be knowing about the Sittannavasal, Kodimiyan Malai, Trikovarnam, Thirumayam, and all culturally very important monuments. And another important here is this Pudukkottai state region has got a very great Jaina tradition. Out of this 41 Tamil Nadu archaeological sites of Jaina importance, 31 are in Pudukkottai district. 30 out of 41 in TN, which talks about centrally protected Jaina relics, are available in Pudukkottai district. So this area is full of Jaina monuments and vestiges. We will go through them and how critical. And this area of this Jaina religion in this area was prevalent from 3rd century BC to 10th century AD. Over 1,300 years, the Jainism was practiced in this part of the land, and we can see the history behind all of them now. Yeah. Sittannavasal, what it is known for? It is known for a very specific mural paintings in a Jaina cave. We heard about Ajanta. Ajanta is a Buddhist. And after Ajanta paintings, the Sittannavasal paintings are holding very important place in the art history of India. We will see how true it is to its world and fame. And this area in Sittannavasal, there are some of the earliest frescoes in South India and only examples of early Jaina frescoes. Remember, this is the one of the early Jaina paintings we have seen so far. And where it is. This is in Pudukkottai. It is northwest of Pudukkottai, the small village, and it's a very famous archaeological site. It's just 15 kilometers northwest of Pudukkottai on the road to Illapur. And there's a village very close to this place called Annavasal. This is slightly inside in a hillock called Sittannavasal. There are various reasons and the names, why the name Sittannavasal came. Sittannavasal probably would have been derived from a Sanskrit word called Siddhanam plus Vasaha. It means abode of Siddhas. But there are references to the word Sittannavasal in early Sangam poetry. So that also may not be right. So there are various guesses. We'll just leave it as it is. So this is the landscape of Sittannavasal. In this large rocky hillock, there are 4 major monuments for us to see. Let us see one by one. The first one is called Arivar Koil. You can see it is in the southern part of hillock. Here you see the mural paintings, and this is next only to Ajanta painting in terms of importance and beauty. And it is a very flourishing center of Jaina influence, where Jainism flourished for over 1,200 years from 3rd century BC to 10th century AD. Next one is called Ezhadippattam. This Ezhadippattam, this is a set of natural caverns with the polished stone beds in this hillock, where Jain ascetics performed austerities. One of such caverns called Ezhadippattam, there are 17 stone beds there, with inscriptions in Tamil dating from 3rd century BC. So this leads us to another interesting observation. This is one of the oldest documented evidence of Tamil Brahmi script in Tamil land. So we have a Tamil Brahmi script inscribed in a Jain stone beds. We'll talk about it in subsequent slides. Then another one is called Navacholai. This Navacholai is basically, it's the northern part of the hillock. There's a very submerged rock cut shrine. There's a Shivalinga there, and there's a natural spring nearby. So most of the time, the Shivalinga is underwater. The entire Shivalinga has been carved out in a cave like a fashion. We will see about the importance and history behind that as we go forward. The other 4th important point in this area is the burial sites. Why it is important? These megalithic burial sites here, basically to prove it is habitated for more than 3,000 years. So right now it's isolated, but the humans were living here for 3,000 years, and it is one of the early Jaina influential center in south of India. So these are the four major monuments in Sittannavasal. We will see each one of them quickly. The first one we talk about is Arivar Koil. This is the view you see at a distance. Right now it is grilled and gated by ASI. This is the front view of this. You may see the cave pattern resembles a typical Pallava cave because of the pillars and the typical Pallava style you see here. Let's go in and see what is there inside. This is another side view. You have the front mandapa, then you have Ardha mandapa. We will see one at a time right now. Even though people thought it is an excavation of Mahendra Varma Pallavan because of the style and everything, right now people consider this the Pandya's contribution. Still, there is an uncertainty regarding the origin of this temple. We will see why people come to this conclusion in a moment. This Jaina cave temple excavated before 9th century AD and has a famous mural paintings. How we can say that it is before 9th century AD? Because we have an inscription dated around 9th century AD. This cave has been renovated. So since there is a documentation of a renovation, so we can safely assume there was a cave much before that and the Pandya kings renovated it. Let's go one by one. This is another view. When you climb up this small hillock, you reach this place. It is in the west face of the hillock near the northern end. A walk of about 100 feet over the sloping rock takes a visitor to this cave temple. Let's talk about some details about the architecture of this cave temple. This is the plan. Here is we have a Garbhagraham where the worshipping deity is installed. Then you have an Ardha Mandapam. Then you have a pillared veranda or a Mandapam. And the Mukha Mandapam that was added in 9th century perhaps collapsed, and it was renovated in 20th century by King of Pudukkottai, Thondaiman. Remember, this is a cave temple. It was not a structural temple. People have to use all technology available at that point in time to carve out to make this temple. And it's a hard granite. It is not a very big cave you see in North India, in Maharashtra and all, because there you have the stones are pretty soft compared to Tamil Nadu and the granite area. Granite type of rocks. So except the floor, initially the entire space has been plastered and painted. Right now, we can see some small patches of the paintings remaining in some corners of the temple. And we have a pillared veranda. This is a view of the pillared veranda. And you can see here, what do we see? Here you see a Jaina Tirthankara here. This is a typical Pallava style pillar, but there is questions about who did that. And you can see small patches of paintings here. And here is the Garbhagraha. This pillared veranda in the front is a 20th century addition by Thondaiman, King of Pudukkottai, basically to protect it from rain and sun. And there's a small, not small, 17-line Tamil inscription in the rock face of the original cave, which basically talks about the repair and extension of the cave temple by a Jaina Acharya called Ilan Gautaman during the reign of the Pandya king Srimaran Srivallavan, 9th century AD. What is exactly written here? This is Swasthasri Trindiya Perumbugol Deva Darisanathu Arandava Munivanai Porchelvan Arangular Nilaimai Ilangavadamananum Alangid Tirunagar Madurai Assyrian. Then it ends like Seer Madurai Assyrian Annal Aha Mandapam Pudukki Ang Arivar Koil Mukhamandapam Kam Edathan Mun. Basically, it says there is a Jaina ascetic or a Jaina Acharya called Ilangavathama has renovated this temple. Okay. You have Ardha Mandapa here. And on one side of the Ardha Mandapa, you see a figure here. And this seems to be a Jaina Acharya. Because of there's only a single umbrella here. There's a in Jainism, you have a standard information available how to identify a Tirthankara or Acharya. Based on that definitions available, we identify this statue belongs to a Jaina Acharya, which has got only one umbrella. And this mandapa is 22.5 feet by 7.5 feet. On the side walls are the two niches containing sculptures of Tirthankara and an Acharya. This is an Tirthankara, and other side is an Acharya, other side is a Tirthankara. The Ardha Mandapam contained some exquisite paintings, of which precious little remains. Now let's get into the Garbhagraham. In the Garbhagraham, beyond the Ardha Mandapam, is a 10 feet by 10 feet square room, and you can see three statues are sculpted there. It's a cave temple. Remember, it is part of the home rock. On the back wall, 3 images carved in relief, bas relief. On the ceiling is carved a Dharma Chakra. The ceiling contains relics of paintings. There are remnants of earlier work. Now let's go and see in detail about some of the sculptures available in Arivar Koil. So this diagram, this thing has been done by Sudarshanam in Pudukkottai by Professor Swaminathan and his team some 15 years ago. I'm reusing some of the diagrams they have created for easy understanding. There are only five sculptures, all of them on bas relief in this cave temple. There are 3 in Garbhagraha and 2 in Ardha Mandapa on both sides of the Ardha Mandapa. Totally 5. This is on one side of the Ardha Mandapa, which the first one is Jaina Acharya. This is the Tirthankara Parsvanatha. How we identify it's a Parsvanatha? Because of that snake-hooded Tirthankara is Parsvanatha. We discussed about this. He is the 23rd Tirthankara, and we all know 24th Tirthankara is Mahavira. He is sitting in a meditative pose. On the northern wall of that Ardha Mandapa is a Jaina Acharya seated in the same pose. We don't know the name of this person. There's a single umbrella which identifies him as an Acharya and not a Tirthankara. So this is another review of the Garbhagraha. You can see 2 Tirthankaras and an Acharya. We identify them. Northern and central figures have Mukkudai, 3 umbrellas, triple umbrellas. It's a typical characteristics or the a pattern given to identify a Tirthankara. And the other one is just a single umbrella. So it may be a Chakravarti or an Acharya. We don't have any other information other than this. Now let's go and see the paintings which the Sittannavasal is known for and being talked about worldwide. Okay, we all know the Ajanta caves has got India's most talked about paintings. It is done from 200 BC to 600 AD in the caves. And Sittannavasal paintings are an early example of post-Ajanta period. Definitely this is post-Ajanta and the classical Ajanta style with a small variation in handling of the material by the artist. Instantly, you see very less of blue color here and more of red and green available here. Then after Ajanta, in 7th century AD, in Kanchi Kailasanda temple and Panamalai Pallava temple, they have 7th century AD. These paintings are also before Sittannavasal paintings. First we have Ajanta, then we have Pallavas, Kanchi Kailasanda temple paintings. Then Sittannavasal. After Sittannavasal, the whole painting art has been taken to a very high level in Tanjavur. In Tanjavur Brigadiswara temple, you can see one Right now, the access to that is restricted, but we have a small auditorium kind of a thing set up next to that to enjoy these paintings. We'll talk about Tanjore paintings in a different session. So this Brihadishwara temple paintings are after Sittannavasal. So first we have Ajanta, then we have a Pallava Kailasnada period, then we have Sittannavasal, then comes Rajaraja Chola period, Brihadishwara temple paintings. They're all in the same, continuing the same Sittannavasal tradition or post-Ajanta tradition. The techniques used here is known as the fresco secco. How the painting is done. Here it is done on a dry wall. In this process, the surface is first covered with lime plaster, then coated with lime wash, and the painting done on it. The mineral colors of permanent nature were employed for the painting. What is the topic? What is the object? What is the focus of Sittannavasal painting? The subjects of the Sittannavasal paintings are basically Samavasarana of Jain mythology, and a few solo pictures that includes dancing damsels, birds, floral decorations, and various canopy designs. Originally, the entire cave temple, other than the floor, including the sculptures, was covered with plaster and they were painted. Only traces of these are now extant. All these paintings, which would rank among the great paintings of India, are barely visible now, which were available for more than 1,000 years. We have lost them to vandalism in the last 50, 60 years. This Jaina site and its painting were first noticed by a local historian of Pudukkottai, Mr. S. Radhakrishna Iyer, in 1916. Then Dubril and T.A. Gopinath Rao brought it before the archaeological world in 1920. In 1942, Dr. S. Paramasivam and K.R. Srinivasan found that there are two layers of paintings, an earlier and a later one superimposed over the earlier one. Instantly, it is Dr. S. Paramasivam who is the one who brought out the two overlapped paintings in Tanjore Big Temple also. The first one was done by Cholas, by Rajaraja, then by Nayakas. The Nayakas paintings are already 400 years old. 400 years ago, those paintings were coated again and repainted. And it is same Mr. Dr. Paramasivam brought out the differences. The layer of painting which we see today and admire are probably the work of Ilan Gautaman. We went through that inscription in a few slides ago, because he says he has renovated this cave temple. So we are assuming that the recent painting done in 9th century by Ilan Gautaman with the help of a Pandya king, probably Srimaran Srivallabhan. These are some of the earliest frescoes in South India and only example of early Jaina frescoes available to us. In the ceiling of the Ardha Mandapa, you can see the beautiful canopies of floral pattern are painted over two relief images. Now, we have to talk a bit more about the composition here. In Jain mythology, Samavasarana is basically as a worshipping complex, where the Tirthankara, after attaining his Kevala Jnana, when he becomes after multiple births and penance and everything, he reaches his Tirthankara status, he addresses the subjects, attended by everybody in different layers, the people, the kings, the dancers, the honorary workman, even the animals, everybody attends that session. So that is called Samavasarana. The complex is called Samavasarana. That is what is being described here in the painting. This is one of the 5 important events in a Tirthankara's life. When he gives the first sermon after becoming a Tirthankara, he gives this religious sermon. So this the building or the area is called Samavasarana or Samosharana in the latest Jain books I've read. This Samavasarana is a favorite motif for representation in the Jaina temples. You can see in various Jaina temples today, this complex depicted in North India, in Delhi, Rajasthan, everywhere, in a different ways. See, this is one small example. I got it from one of the Jain website. You can see here the Tirthankara sits here, and the other 3 sides is being mirrored. Then you have one layer here, another layer here. Everybody sits here. You can see in the outer layers. You can see the animals are also waiting to listen to the sermon from the Tirthankara. So this area, there's a name for each of these places, and this there's a lotus tank here. It is called Katika Bhumi. This Katika Bhumi is one of the second layer where people come and uh, take bath in the pond and pluck the flowers and offer to the god or the Tirthankara here. And this is the area. It's a very simple thing has been depicted here. Let's see how it is. The Bhavyas, the good ones, rejoice while washing themselves, and they pass on from region to region in order to hear the discourse of the Lord in the heavenly pavilion of Samavasarana. This is the view. You can see this is an Ardhamandapa. This is how you enter. This is your entry. This is in the ceiling of the Ardhamandapa. This is the lotus tank scene. This side you have a carpet design. This side is another floral and carpet design. This particular part of that is lotus tank scene. Let's go a bit deep into it one by one. This is another view of this paint. And instantly, one of our colleague in Tamil artists, Mr. Ashok Krishna Swami, is also a well-known and very reputed photographer. He has captured this and he has made a printout of this, and I'll be showing that after a few minutes once we go through all the paintings in detail on the screen now. The ceiling of the Ardhamandapa. This is a line drawing made. Now, if we go and see, most of them are lost. So this has been documented and earlier, some 60, 70 years ago. Some of the line drawings, we'll be using it for our reference here for comparison. Here in this is the Bhavyas enjoying themselves in a pool full of flowering lotus. Flowers with their stalks and leaves, various kinds of fishes frolicking, a makara, a mythical fish, buffaloes, elephants, and numerous birds are shown with simplicity and charm and naturalness. See this. This is the two highlighted part. Here you can see two people holding lotus in their hands. And here another person handling a bunch of flowers in his hands. This is a painting. See here the grace in which it is being depicted, the color combinations I've used. And this is the one which has been digitally recreated, the same concept, by Ashok Krishna Swami's team recently. This is for the comparison purpose, how we have the line drawing. I also want you to know we have people right now who can understand and create something similar here. So this will give you more details about what is there in the picture. That's why I just shown it here, just for knowledge and comparison's sake. You can see Hamsa birds here, you have elephants, and you have two people plucking the flowers and carrying them, and you have fishes frolicking in the water. And you can see, remember, this is in the ceiling of the Ardhamandapa. Normally, we used to see in a lotus pond, how do we see the lotus? What is the angle or the view we will get to see here? How the artist will be depicting you, how this is a lotus pond. How do you know? By giving you the contrast between the leaf behind and the lotus in the front, you can see how they have beautifully carved out to give you a feeling that it is a lotus pond and it is full of flowers and fishes, elephants. You can see even bullocks enjoying a good bath there in the lotus pond. We will see one by one. Here you can see a bunch of flowers, and one in one hand you can see the grace in which it has been painted. We can talk about this particular painting, this ceiling alone for next 2-3 hours, but I'll be passing through, just giving you some glimpses of the photographs of that quickly. This is another way, another depiction by Ashok Krishna Swami and the team. Then here, this is another larger where you can see multiple elephants. There is 1, 2, 3, and each one is, alert enough and enjoying. You can see each one of this here. So I'll be talking very less. I want you to enjoy this painting, so I'll go a bit slow.
Sorry to interrupt. If you can keep the audio mic a little closer, it will be better.
Yeah, is it okay? Is it audible? Hello?
Yeah. much
Yeah,
more.
okay. Yeah, sorry. Here you can see the buffaloes, one facing and enjoying its bath, and another one is looking at you. Remember, this was done 1,200 years ago on a ceiling, on a hard rock granite. This is another view of this. See that the pose, the posture, the color combination they have used, the the preposition, beautiful. And you have Hamsa birds, looking at that who is entering and having their own fun. So this, you can even see the smile, and you can see that a fish entering or playing near that Hamsa birds. It's another view. Remember, they follow the Ajanta tradition. It is after Ajanta, and this is the only place where you see a painting in South India in a Jain monument. You can see this three people. Some of the close-up views. Beautiful, isn't it? See the detailing of the lotus, the petals, the off-bended petals. And just a small comparison, our friend Professor Sivaramakrishnan, he used to talk about this for hours together. He did a small comparison of how we see the similar thing in sculptures also. So I'll be using some of his inputs here. The highly contrasted one. Then you can see that elephant, and you have below near the elephant there is a fish, two fishes, one in the front and the back. Now we just go into the Garbhagriha and see the carpet design just been painted just above the Garbhagriha. The ceiling of the Garbhagriha, you can see three relief sculptures. The carpet with the striped borders and irregular squares and circles interlinked. And within the squares are lotus flowers. You can see this border, they're beautiful. There's a cross, there's the two human figures on the upper side and two lion figures on the lower side on the horizontal arms. And you can see the very intrinsic, very intricate design, how they have been merged. This you can see whenever you see this kind of pattern, you should remember you have this documented 1,200 years ago in Tamil Nadu in Sittannavasal. Then we'll talk about the pillars of the Ardha Mandapa. There are exquisite paintings available, dancing girls, and most of them are lost. If you go and see, you will definitely will regret the current state out there. We will see one by one. You have their broad hips, slender waists, and elaborate ornaments, and beautiful. Just see them, the rhythm and they technically must rank and one among the best in the whole of India. This is the view of the pillars. Is another angle. Again, photograph from Ashok Swami. This is the same view. And this painting is here, where you can see that arrow there. This is how it is. This is the current status. Here's another contrast. Just you see white and black, how it looks like. And you can see the dancing girl here with a Lata Hasta pose. And it's a line drawing, and it's actual in the pillar. And it has been recreated by Ashok Swami's team recently to give you a thing of how it could have looked like during those days. Here it's another one. The current digital recreation looks like. This is it seems to be a king and queen. People say this is Srimar and Srivallaban and his queen, but we don't know. If true, then this will be the only portrait of a Pandyan king available to us. Thanks, Kopu, for this information. This is another view of the cobble taken from the bottom. And you can see the beautiful curves and there's Hamsa birds and the patterns. It's one of the, and Professor Swarnamakrishnan talks much great about how fluidly, lucidly this has been done, the very flawless curves, and it has been done. This has been recreated recently by Ashok's team. This another view of this, and this is the carpet design. So with this, I'll just take a minute to show. We'll show that right now or a bit later. We'll show that photograph now. I'll be showing you a small work done by our friend Ashok Krishna Swami. The upper ceiling of this Ardha Mandapa, the famous lotus pond scene. We'll spend 2 minutes to see that the work done by our team, so that you know we have very passionate people following this heritage in Tamil Nadu. 1 minute. Remember, this is there in the ceiling like that. I hope you are able to follow. Just a minute. Yeah. This one. This was displayed. You can see the lotus ponds here. This famous carpet design. This was displayed in RK Center last year. Whoever wants to have a look at it, you can contact us. Thank you. Let me continue. I hope you're able to listen to what I said. Sorry, I just kept this mic here. Now we are entering into the second monument of Sittannavasal called Ezhadippattam. It's a name given to a natural cavern where over more than 1,000 years, since 3rd century BC, Jaina ascetics practiced severest penances. They call Kaya Utsarga and Salekana. Kaya Utsarga, basically it is standing till we die. Meditation pose till we die is one of the practices used by Jaina ascetics to get moksha. Kaya Utsarga and Salekana. Salekana is basically fasting unto the death. This is the place we have more than 17 beds. This is the access to that place. You have to carefully enter there. Once you go there, you will see a shock of your life because most of them have been vandalized. And there are 17 beds with the names and the inscriptions starting from 3rd century BC. As I told you, the inscription is, you can see the bed here with a stone pillow. Most of the beds are inscribed. Right now, the inscriptions are barely visible, but last 40, 50, 60 years, we have lost most of them. This is how it looks like. There is a lot of 20th century inscriptions. Maybe you can see a mobile number or a WhatsApp number also inscribed on this. But this it has been taken some 5-6 years ago with a lot of English writing on the old 2,300 years old Tamil script. One of the beds, the largest, is the oldest. It contains the inscription in Tamil, in the Tamil Brahmi of 3rd century BC. This is one of the oldest lithic records of South India. This is how it looks like. And the Professor Swaminathan has documented in one of his work in another thing called Development of Scripts in Tamil Nadu. He has captured this. What is written there is Yeriminadu Kumizhuur Piranda Kavadi Idengu Siru Posil Ilayar Seda Adit Anam. Basically, the name of this is called Tengu Siruposil. The person from a place called Siruposil has done this bed for Yeriminadu Kulumuril Piranda Kavadi Tengu. It means the it mentioned that the Ilayar of Tenku Siruposal made the seat for Kavati born in Kumizhur. There's a Jaina ascetic from the place, probably in Karnataka. Yeriminadu People say it is because of the Mahishasura, Mysore, Mahishanadu, and there is, but definitely this is in Karnataka. There's a Jain ascetic from there. For him, the person from Sittannavasal made a bed for him. That's the inscription. This is one of the oldest and earliest Tamil Brahmi inscriptions we have available till date. And you see here how it has been written and captured. Near other beds, name of other Jain ascetics who practiced and penance are inscribed here. They're totally around from 7th to 10th centuries AD, around 17 names. There are number of stone beds and inscription around Ezhadippattam. You can see. There's also a passage to reach the hill through a very narrow cavern. Now it's under disuse. I think we will not dare to get in. The third one is called Navacholai. Naval Maram. The Chunai. Chunai is basically a small spring out there. This is how it looks like. There's a small, there's a pool, takes its name from a Naval Maram close by. It consists currently, if you go there, you see a submerged rock cut shrine inside. You can see the Shivalinga there. This is part of the mother rock. It has been carved. And there's a spring nearby. It's most of the time it is full of water. Whenever it dries out, people go and offer. And one of our friends, Mr. Muttadagan, has got a video of the worships done in that place. And we have no idea why this is excavated like this and who did this. Most likely, this is a Pandya rocket shrine. This is during the dry period. That's how it looks like. Then the fourth one is the megalithic burials. It's a typical mode of disposing the dead bodies in those days. In Pudukkottai has got multiple people have discovered a lot of such burial site, and this area is one among that. Grave burials practiced with the poor people, urn burials in which dead men were buried and sitting posture in a large earthenware pot, and burials in deep stone chambers formed stone slabs. Quite a few are found in Sittannavasal also, all the three. Loosely called, they're all dolmens. These are the stone-capped burial monuments with the chambers in stone. Mudumakkal Tari, it's called in Tamil. Burial parts of the old people is the most widely used local name. These are easily identifiable by the appearance of a circle of laterite or granite stones and small boulders on the surface of the spot. Other than that, there is some very few places of interest nearby. We have two temples currently in ruin. One is dedicated to Shiva and another to a goddess. This is the current situation. These are the few loose sculptures near to the shrines. These two temples have not been studied in detail yet. And there is also a local shrine for Ayyanar, the customary terracotta sculptures you see with Kudurai horses and all. So typically, the small summary of this, the Sittannavasal complex offers an opportunity to travel in time. You can experience how the 3rd century people, Jain ascetics, lived till the modern times and to savor certain unique features of our past. Now we will see, okay, I have another 15 minutes. Interesting project done by our Professor Swaminathan. He will be addressing us at the end of this session for 5 minutes. This is favorite project. He's from Pudukkottai, and right now he's an IIT Delhi professor. Right now he's settled in Chennai. He is also a founder of our Tamil Heritage Trust. He has proposed a project called the Project Sittannavasal to various authorities in the last 10-15 years. And we will be discussing, listening from him in his own words a bit later. But I will go through some of the proposals he has made for the knowledge of everyone. If you have any questions or any doubts, we'll ask him for more information later. Do you remember this? This is Altamira Cave. How people enjoyed this Altamira caves in 1970. Instantly, Altamira is in Spain. This is 23,000 years old caveman paintings, rock paintings in a cave. When it was discovered, it is the oldest, and people had unhindered access to it. Then within 30-40 years, all the paintings disappeared. So what the government did, they blocked this. They created something similar nearby. They created something called a replica. And people have access only to a replica now. They can't see the old one. It has been totally weather controlled. If you want to enter, you have to wear something like a PPE kind of an equipment so that all our exhaust will not damage those paintings out there. This is how it has been done. Why I'm showing that here is this is a model which we also can adopt to protect our age-old paintings. This is what professor has suggested. Even in Sittannavasal also, the whole temple was fully plastered and painted, but we only see very few patches of paintings right now. The paintings you see are at least 1,300 years old, and barely they are visible, and most of them are damaged. And we see all the mobile numbers and everything has been written on that, as if that walls will use that and start sending them emails and calls. Even these are because of vandalism. The most painful fact is that most of them are man-made the last 50 years. This is a photograph of the painting taken in black and white in 1940s. This is how it looks now. In 40, 50 years, we have lost what was not damaged over 1,200 years. The complex can also boast of Tamil inscriptions from 3rd century to 13th century AD. Now, man-made markings have obliterated all these precious inscriptions and marred the rest. Maybe 100 years from now, people will say English was prevalent in 1400 years ago. Based on this, we don't know. If this rate of decay continues, these priceless treasures, which withstood for about 1,200 years plus, will be completely ruined forever in the next few decades. We, as inheritors of the great heritage, need to protect ours from further deterioration. At least that's what we can do. We cannot undo the past. But we also need to create an awareness among our people. So the project Sittannavasal project was conceived towards this. The objective of this project Sittannavasal was to build a full-scale replica of the cave temple with its painting recreated to its original state. We have technology, we have people available. You have seen the photo of this has been recreated as good as the original in terms of look and feel, not the touch, by Ashok Krishna and the team. We have people, the technology available. Why can't we create a full-scale replica of this and preserve our past? To offer an opportunity to appreciate our lost glory, and to preserve the monuments and particularly the paintings from further damage by keeping the original cave under controlled conditions. Like how are they doing in other places? I heard Ajanta also, they're trying to do that right now. Despite that, there's a lot of damage occurs to the paintings. And also build thematic pavilions around the recreated Arivar Koil that highlights those features of Indian heritage for which Sittannavasal monuments are famous for. You can have various pavilions around with very thematic pavilions. We will see one by one what are the initial suggestions. This will create enough awareness of heritage among the public, at least to our youngsters, or maybe even if it not now after 20, 30 years, after successfully we come out of this current pandemic and we are back to normal in our lifestyle, maybe the future generations will try to understand what was much before. And also we can set up a center for Jainology because it's a Jain monument, and for undertaking research, documentation, publication of Jain religion in South India, and also incorporate various features to attract tourists, culture troops, and corporate houses. Like you can recreate the Arivar Koil. This is the blueprint created by Professor when he was doing this Sudarshanam work in Pudukkottai. I'm just reusing with his permission. We have an elevator, you have a cross-sectional view, how it looks like. He has done a thorough blueprint of what all things we can do. And you have an indoor pavilions with a display of all the major information which we want to give it to our next generation and recreate. And this is the Arivar Koil. Around that in the circular path, you have 4 different pavilion for 4 different themes. The complex with the outdoor pavilions, complex with the recreated temple indoor and outdoor, Aksharam, Mandiram, Chitram, and the Jnanam. We'll talk about each one of this now and the reason behind why he has done that. The complex, and you can also to cater to the current needs of you can have a sales section for selling the souvenirs. After creating the Arivar Koil, this is how it looks like. You can see the photograph and how we can create a thematic pavilion around that. And people can enter and have a realistic feeling of how the painting looks like after entering into that pavilion. Then you have a called Mandiram, temple architecture pavilion for Arivar Koil is the link in those. Then you have a Chitram, a paintings pavilion for Indian paintings. And Aksharam, Indian scripts. India is a civilization of undisturbed, at least 5,000 to 6,000 years. So we have various scripts available across the country. We can have a pavilion demonstrating and highlighting the importance of each one of those. And a Jnanam, basically, the Jain contribution to Tamil culture for this aspect is scarcely appreciated. Sittannavasal is an appropriate focus to start with. The Mandiram may be a temple architecture pavilion, maybe showing various cave temples, monoliths, structural temples. It's small models, photographs, what not. We can see how Met Museum in US has recreated some of the Egypt monuments there. Something similar we can create for some of the important structural architectures in India in this pavilion. It's only our innovative ideas can add more value to this. Then you have a temple architecture, and you have bold relief model. We had in India Lomas Rishi, Ajanta, Tirkogarnam. In monoliths you have Mamallapuram, Ellora. Structural you have Mamallapuram, Kodumbalur, Tanjavur. All these small models, information about that can be kept in that with enough technical details so that everybody can understand. Then getting into the Chitram, maybe the Chitram, the Indian Paintings Pavilion. The exhibits forming a rich pageantry of our paintings from rock art till date. We have our oldest rock arts in India in Bhimbetka. So we can recreate some of them here and teach our next generation about the importance of that and information behind that. We can have a representative specimens, laminated, framed, mounted, and put up indoors. Remember, all can be done in an air-conditioned way. You don't have a chance to see them in such a very comfortable thing if you go into any of our Indian monuments. Then you have a prehistoric rock arts, Ajanta paintings, Kanchipuram, Pallava style, Sittannavasal, Tanjavur, Jain miniature paintings on a palm leaves, whatnot. All types of Indian paintings can be displayed in this pavilion. The small ideas, Mughal arts, Bengal school, Nayak period, whatnot. Each one adds value to Indian tradition. The other one is Aksharam, Indian Scripts Pavilion, tracing our history of Indian scripts from Indus Valley through Brahmi to scripts for modern Indian languages and many Asian languages. Samples written in the stucco on a granite block with suitable legends organized as an open-air pavilion. This will really interest the kids. I've seen them how it, a periodical visit to this can really add a lot of interest to our next generation to learn them. Instantly, as a small contribution to this, Tamil Heritage Trust conducts Pallava Grantha classes periodically to teach Pallava Grantha, which is one of the forerunner languages for South Asian languages also. Then you have Indra scripts, Ashoka Brahmi, Samudragupta Brahmi, Sittannavasal Brahmi, or Tamil Brahmi it is currently named as, and Batti Prolu Brahmi inscriptions. You can see there's inscriptions in Chennai Museum. Nagari, Pallava Nagaris, Anamalai Vatteluthu of Pandya period, Mamallapuram Grantha, Trikavarnam Tamil, and later Chola Tamil, focusing on the theme. And then you have a Jnanam, the fourth pavilion, can talk about focusing on the theme through suitable means, basically incorporating Center for Jainology, equipped with the library, DTP, reprography, talks about that religion, the work of arts from that religion, all can be displayed for the knowledge of everyone to understand Jainism. So development of such a heritage complex, along with tourist attractions like heritage garden, camping, picnic areas, retreats for corporate houses, cultural troops, arranging heritage tours, sauna sale, all can make this project commercially visible. And this is the proposal given by professor, and I have not heard any positive news about it for quite a long time. About this, maybe we can hear from professors one mouth about the feedback or additional portion you want to share on this. This is what I want to share. I hope I've taken you through Sittannavasal, its history, and the highlights of the paintings, and our proposal to protect its heritage. I'm open for any discussions. I will request, I'm requesting Professor Swaminathan sir to add more inputs about this program and Sittannavasal, which is very, very dear to his heart. Over to you, Professor sir.
Thank you. You have done an excellent job. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
See, there are lots of such heritage sites which need enormous amount of input so that we can leave it for the future. Sittannavasal is one among the very rare monuments where you can find architecture, writing, and also most importantly painting. We have made a suggestion 15 years ago to the government how we can go about doing it. And within these 15 years, technology has improved. People have come in with a greater amount of zest and enthusiasm. I think such projects are taken by the government or people who have means to do that. If there are any questions, I am prepared to answer.
Anu, you'd like to ask, open the floor for people to ask any questions to Professor or to us, to me? Or are there any questions in YouTube where you want Professor's inputs? We are open. I think we have exactly spent 1 hour to discuss about it, and we can spend another 5-10 minutes and listening to the feedback and give inputs to the people.
That was an excellent presentation. Thank you so much, Srinivasan, sir. And we thoroughly enjoyed all the paintings, and you had virtually taken us back to Sittannavasal. A splendid journey indeed. And I'm sure the participants enjoyed as much as I did. Sir, you want me to read out the questions that's posted in YouTube, or how do you want it?
Yeah, you can read it out. Let me also see.
I'm also going to allow the participants to unmute yourself so you can ask for any questions. So those who have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Sir, I will read out from the questions posted in YouTube. Mr. Ramji Nagarajan asked, why are the two people on Lotus Pond depicted in different shades, one fairer than the other? Any hierarchy?
We have no idea whether there was a hierarchy, but what we can see is people have different complexion, even in those days. That's all about it.
And why an elephant in floor pond? Why the elephant along with?
So, this is a very interesting question. It's not only that. When you look at the size of an elephant and also a fish behind it, the huge difference in this one is not shown there. Most of them look to be almost of the same size. But that is the technique they have to follow if they are going to show animals, human beings, flowers, and so on in that period. Is the kind of impressionist painting.
Yeah, and
it's not attempted to be a photograph.
True. And other than that, we don't have any major questions. I know you, maybe from Zoom participants, if they have any questions, they can ask.
If they have any questions, if they have any suggestions, they can also let me know.
We also need input from the people how best we can take this Sittannavasal tradition and the paintings and architecture to a next generation. Sittannavasal is one of the ideas done by Professor. We can always amend, add more, add value to that. Gopu, I'm seeing you.
Yeah. I just wanted to comment to Ramji's question that you see this multiple color for people even in Tanjavur and Ajanta. You have one person in dark red, then someone in a middle color, and then the third person in a very light shade. In Tanjavur, you have that. You have three people standing next to each other. And Ajanta also, you see so body color, right? A variation of similar shades. The persons are not red. Actually, Swaminathan sir mentioned there are a couple of techniques like Ninno Nata to differentiate depth perception. So the closer person has one slight color, the person behind has a different color. I think that is one analytical or one comment that is there in one of the commentaries that says the people are painted in different colors to show relative depth of the characters. So that may be a factor there.
Possible. Right.
Thank you, Gopu.
Thank you, everyone. I think
Yes,
it's
and
a
one
very
more question. Why an
yeah.
elephant in floor pond?
Yeah, because you look at the Sama Saravana, that one we discussed about the Jain Tirthankara giving a sermon. Everyone is invited. Everyone is invited to that, to listen to the first sermon of the Tirthankara. So all animals, fishes, snakes, you name it, everything. You even have a crocodile. Everybody, you are invited to that event. So everybody has to cross that area before. That's a social hierarchy. The kings will be very close to that thing, and next people, they're different in social hierarchy. They are allowed to enter and stay and listen to that sermon. So in the outer layer, you see that small pond. It's called that Kutika Bhumi, where there's a pond, and people through that they enter, pluck the flowers and offer it, and enter there. There is animals. So this is, in my opinion, this is basically just the artist want to show his mastery. Just want to show that a very non-descriptive event. Just people are going to attend a function or a sermon, and or the scene out there. There's a pond. There's there's an ermamada there. There's a elephant, fish, people, you name, everyone, everything. Just you want to show the wider, the varied objects there. Other than the artistic thing, I don't think there is anything else, unless some of our Jain friends explain any specific reason for related to elephant entering a pond and joining that sermon. I'm not aware of that.
Swaminathan sir has any insight or?
There are, see, as far as the tank is concerned, it is the tank they've got to reach, take a bath, purify themselves before they go into the pavilion to listen to the sermon. And the pond is shown here with all its inhabitants. That's all about it. Probably the elephants came from outside. They're taking a bath, etc., etc. There was a lily. There was a lot of lilies there. The தாமரை இருக்கு, எல்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா? ஒரு நல்ல குளத்தை அவங்க காமிச்சிருக்காங்க.
Yeah, that's what I thought so. And Sir Srinivasan sir, you have some feedback.
Yeah.
Everybody says excellent session. And
all good things, feedback goes to Professor Swaminathan sir and the team. And if there are any improvements, any shortcoming that I need to improve, I will take that and will improve. And my request to all the participants here is, if you have any other suggestions how to take this, our heritage, to our next generation, what
Yes,
are the
sir.
other major things, please feel free to communicate with us. Professor is happy to receive any such inputs. We can collate and share that. We can see how it's protecting a future, and the heritage is all in our hands, right? One person cannot do, one government cannot do. It's going to be a society effort. and we have to join together and do that. These are the initial inputs or initial ideas given by Professor. I request all of whoever listens to this add their inputs and feedback to Professor and us. We can see how we can improve this further. One day we will see that that's happening.
Certainly, we hope for the best, sir, and we will do whatever is within our view also. It's a great talk and a great session and a great message that was passed on to the youngsters as well. So, those viewers who are interested in heritage, I'm sure they would appreciate whatever you had done today, and they would take up the message seriously and work on it. I hope.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor, for your time. I would like to thank once again our professors and all our Tamil Heritage Trust friends, Ashok Krishna Swami, Professor Ramakrishnan, Gopu, everyone who contributed in sharing their knowledge with me, and I'm able to call it and share that with all of you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you so